Welcome guys to my best video series, best game of the day. Today we will be going back in 2017 where Boris Gelfand beat Pelletier in a great game. It was a rapid, but it has a great value not only on the opening but mostly on the tactical perspective. You will be seeing one of the most typical and most amazing tactical theme you can possibly find in chess, and that is the bishop takes h2 or bishop takes h7 typical sacrifice. And here we go. So the opening, like I mentioned before, is good, but it's just not that excited. It's slap defense. If you're playing black, you're not gonna get that much out of it. You just have to equalize first. Remember that. In the opening, you'll go with black is to go for the equality first, then you can go to get the advantage. This is a very theoretical position that has been played plenty of time, and all of these moves are pretty logical. Develop, center, develop, rooks on the files that will likely be open, and same for black, same for white. Almost symmetric position. Of course, white is a little better because white has a little more space and white can play the move e4 faster. Now white didn't play the move e4, even though that was probably the best shot to get a little bit of advantage. White went for bishop f1, and now it's Gelfand the one who goes for e5. Now that move e5 on a first glance seems a little risky, because if you take this pawn and I take back, I will be getting an isolated pawn on d5. Pawn structure wise, this is a little better for white, and this seems to be what white wants. But Gelfand came out with an insane move e5, e4, that changes the entire perspective of the game. Now this bishop is kind of be pointing to h2, and that's where you're gonna find the sack, the amazing sack. An interesting point is that in this same tournament, in this same match, Gelfand beat Pelletier twice using the same tactical thing. We're only talking about this one game today, but if you want to look for the other game, look for that tournament in 2017, and you're gonna find that Gelfand beat him twice with the same tactical thing. The bishop takes h2 sack. So e4, Pelletier plays knight h4. D takes c6 was also not working because pawn takes knight, pawn takes bishop, and once again, boom, bishop takes h2. When you do bishop takes h2, the most likely continuation is the move king takes bishop, otherwise you just lose the pawn, knight g4 check, and then the queen comes in. Now the most typical responses on this position for black depend on what white plays. If white goes back to g1, most of the time queen h4 is the winning move, because you cannot stop the mate. Now if you go up, then you don't have queen h4, so the move is usually queen g5, and that is how black is completely winning on this position. So white didn't play pawn takes pawn, instead white played the move knight h4, which makes the sack a lot easier because now the queen can take the knight. So when you do bishop takes h2, king takes bishop, knight g4 check, the king is forced to go up, otherwise then white has no chances. You just lost the only material you have and the only thing that was keeping your position alive. So king h6, and now one of my favorite moves of the game. You don't have queen g5 because it doesn't really do anything. Then black simply goes knight df6, opening this awesome diagonal for the bishop with the perspective of a discover attack that will destroy white position. White played the move g3, only move to get out of that position by escaping with king g2, but you notice that this is also the only way the knight can go out, and so white is gonna get the knight trap. Now the best move here was pawn takes pawn. Gelfand played a mistake, that was g5, but it still works. Black is doing well anyway. It would have been a little more precise pawn takes pawn, because you will get this knight, so you don't have to rush for material. What you need is to get as much as you can, and that is this pawn. You don't want to lose that pawn that you could just get it, then get the knight, then you would be up a pawn with initiative. So he instead played g5, which makes sense. White is gonna lose the knight, or you can go back to g2, but that would be awful because the continuation like bishop ca will be destroying completely White's position. Now counting that, maybe there's also mate threats with queen h6. So a lot going on here. f3 was played to get escape to the knight and also to the king. Makes sense. You take my knight, I take yours. Well, g takes h4, I definitely take your knight. And now f takes g4 was probably the best move, and Yannick Pelletier didn't play, and of course that cost him the game very quickly. But black was fine in this position as well. So knight takes e4, black goes knight takes knight, pawn takes g4, and now if you look at this, black is not down material anymore. The position is even, and I still have this huge attack on this side. And of course, to finish him up, queen d6 is just a bomb, trying to get the mate. There's only one piece that can come up to the rescue, and that's the queen. So queen g2, then black goes simple pawn takes pawn, trying to checkmate the king. Only move again is queen g1 to save the queen and save the mate, so you can escape. But then the amazing move g2 finish the game, and Pelletier resign on this position. Only 23 move, a very nice game by Boris Gelfand, and I really hope you enjoy it. I will see you tomorrow for the next best game of the day.